Greetings everyone. In this video, we want to discuss job opportunities for Zimbabwean teachers. Maybe if you are also a teacher from another country in the United Arab Emirates, you might be a ZEP holder and you might be finding difficult to renew or to move to another visa. There are opportunities for teachers in the United Arab Emirates, UAE. Like I'm saying, you might not be a Zimbabwean, but from another African country. You might also take your time and check if indeed you can get a job there. So this video is meant for such individuals who might want to explore opportunities in the UAE. So some little background about UAE, United Arab Emirates, is that most people always, like myself, always say Dubai is a country on its own. So when you talk of UAE, people say, no, me, I want to go to Dubai, and they think Dubai, it's another country. No, Dubai is not a country on its own. In fact, the United Arab Emirates is divided into 7 emirates. An emirate is more like a state or a province. So it has a government of its own, but it is not really separate from the UAE. So these are 7 kind of states or 7 provinces. So they are under the central government of the UAE. So it's not that Dubai is an independent country as it were. So there are jobs in the United Arab Emirates for teachers. So what we have been told, as we have been engaging others doing our research, is that jobs for teachers are not in Dubai. You might want to say, I want to go and look for employment in Dubai as a teacher. Jobs are not in Dubai. Jobs are in other cities or in other provinces of the UAE. So it's important to understand. So most jobs are in what is called Abu Dhabi. That's where most jobs are, and Abu Dhabi is the largest or is the biggest of the other 7 states or emirates, as they call them, because United Arab Emirates so is the largest. And what we are told is that there are government jobs, that is for teachers, and in the private sector. In most countries in Africa and elsewhere, private sector pays better than government. But in the United Arab Emirates, government teaching jobs pays far much better than those in the private sector. But there are requirements, of course. You cannot just walk in and say you want to go and teach them. The subjects that they are looking for in government jobs are your science subjects, mathematics, English, and ICT. These are the subjects that they are looking for. So if you are a teacher who specializes in mathematics, in any of the science subjects, in English, in ICT, you can try your luck. You might move into the UAE and find a job there. And also for primary school teachers, if you're a primary school teacher, you can go and work in the UAE. So it is not only for secondary or higher school. At primary level, you can go and work there. But for you to apply for a job, at government schools. Like I've said, government schools pay much better than private sector. There is a website where you need to check for a job, and then you do the application. Before you check your job, the requirement is that you should have a degree in any of the subjects that you teach. A degree in mathematics, a degree in any of the science subjects, a degree in English, a degree in ICT. That's what they need, plus a grand CE. So if you are in the teaching profession, you will know what a grand CE is. So this becomes the academic qualification for you to stand a chance of being employed in government or in a government school in the United Arab Emirates. So what you need to do, you need to Google for job opportunities. The website is MOE. Just to Google MOE and check job opportunities. They are there. MOE stands for Ministry of Education. So that's the website for the Ministry of Education for the United Arab Emirates. So if you want to work for the government in that part of the world, you need to check job opportunities in the website MOE. That's the Ministry of Education. As I've said, that the government pays better than the private sector. But then private sector also pays better, but doesn't pay better than government. There are also opportunities in private sector, though the salaries are a bit lower or are lower than those that are paid teachers that work in government schools. So in the private sector, they accept all subjects, including your geography. So it's not limited in the private sector or in the private schools. It's not limited to mathematics, any of the science subjects, English and ICT. In the private sector, it is open to all subjects. Obviously, we're not going to teach Indebele there or isiZulu or isiShona, but it's open to all subjects, including your geography. You can go and apply and get an opportunity to work there. So the qualifications are almost similar. You need to have a degree in the subject that you teach, and of course a grand CE. As I've said, that if you are in the education sector, you will know what a grand CE is. But there's then of course, before I get to the next step, is that in government schools you need what is called the ELS, which is you need what is called IELTS. This is what you need for government schools. If again you're in the education sector, you know what the IELTC is. IELTs. This is what they need. They are also special for primary and also special needs for children, special education. So if, say, you are a teacher, you trained at the United College of Education, trained there, you are degreed, government can also hire you. So you don't have to say, me, I trained at the United College of Education, I cannot take an opportunity. You can. They have kids also who need special needs, mainly at primary schools, even at secondary school. So like I said, their grades starts at a lower level up to, their level starts at ECD up to equivalent of grade 12. This is what their level is. So you can go there, teach at a primary and teach secondary or high school. But unlike the government, where in the government I've given you the website to say, just to Google the website MOE for you to check if indeed you can get a job. Check for job opportunities. You apply online. Once you apply online, they are going to respond to your application, right? But if you do not have these subjects which are needed in government, which is mathematics, science, any of the science subjects, English and ICT, but you have these other subjects which you can then teach in private schools. The application for a job is different. There's no website. They still do the old way of looking for a job. It means you need to travel to the United Arab Emirates to look for a job in private schools. There's no website for you to look for a job in the private sector. Qualifications, they need you to have a degree and a grand CE. Just as I've explained, but you need to travel in person and be visiting schools to drop your CV. This sound a bit problematic, but this is what needs to happen. You need to travel to UAE to physically look for a job, visit the schools, and drop your CVs, and they are then going to respond to you. So a number of people do travel to UAE to look for jobs. When you get there, you are looking for a job. So what people do, they share accommodation, maybe for a month, right? Because you'll be looking for a job, you have arrived there, you'll have to visit some schools, drop your CV, you need to find accommodation. So what others do who are working there or who will be looking for jobs, they share accommodation. We have tried to check so that maybe you can do your budget and see if you can afford. Remember that if you want to travel, you obviously have to check how much an air ticket costs, and also have to check how much does the visa cost. You have to apply for a visa at the UAE embassy. If you're in South Africa, you can go to Pretoria and apply, or in Zimbabwe, you can go to Harare and apply for a visa. There are no problems, as we understand, in terms of issuing visas, as long as you prove that you have your money to travel. They will give you a visa. So we're told that people share accommodation, because accommodation a month might cost around 700 AED. That's the currency there, which we have calculated to about 190 US dollars per month. So you can then calculate if it's 190 US dollars a month, what is that in rands? I didn't calculate. So the jobs are in where there are a lot of private schools, some town that is called LA. So that's the accommodation that is for 750. This LA city or town is about 140 kilometers outside Dubai. So if you go 140 kilometers outside Dubai, you find accommodation there, which is about 700 AED. That's the currency, which is about 190 US dollars. The private schools were told are in that locality, so you can basically walk around and drop your CV. But you know, it's hot that side. So I advised that you need to, it's better if you were to do it in winter. Their winter is starting in November. This is why I remember the World Cup in that region, Qatar, is in November, because their temperatures are high. Because they go up to between 45 to about 50 degrees Celsius. So walking, you might not be able to walk. So you might need to then use a taxi to move around. But if it is winter and the temperatures are low, then you are able to visit each school and drop your CV. And the accommodation, as I've said, in LA, it's about 700 AED, which is about 190 US dollars. But again, you can decide to say, well, look, I will not want to go, as I'm looking for a job, to go and stay in this city, which is 140 kilometers away of Dubai. But you want to be in Dubai, you want to commute to say maybe once or twice a week, you want to go and visit the area to drop your CVs. Accommodation there, they have what they call bed space, where you have your bed, you share with others again. Many Zimbabweans are doing that. This is what they do. They share a bed. You'll be having a small kitchen where you can cook. The accommodation in Dubai, share bed, they call share bed space. It will cost you roughly around 400 AED. That's the currency there, which is about 108 US dollars. You can then calculate in rands. Like I said, you can then have your small kitchen where you can cook. So if you decide to stay in Dubai, because the private schools in the main are about 140 kilometers, you can then travel to the area in the morning and be back in the evening. There's a bus that travels there, which is costs about 20 AED, the local currency there, which is about 5 US dollars. So $5 US, one trip, $5 US, coming back 140 kilometers. So you can then, if it's winter, when you get to the bus, you get there, you then walk around, visit each school, drop your CV, and then they will certainly get back to you. This is what you are advised. But if it's summer, as I said, their temperatures are high, you will then have to get a cab for you to move around. But the schools, private schools, are in one place. And Zimbabweans in that part of the world were told they've done well. So they do employ Zimbabweans. They do employ Zimbabwean teachers. As I've said, their level started ECD up to grade 12, or equivalent to grade 12. They hire all subjects. You need to apply for a visa, as I've said, but you need to be careful when you are applying for a visa, because there are scammers out there. Some are even in the UAE. They will say, we are going to assist you, you pay your money, and that's it. So you need to use an agent, a credible agent, or you walk into the embassy. So make arrangements with the UAE embassy in Pretoria, as I've said, or in Harare. If you're in Harare, if you're in another African country, you can visit their embassy in your country of origin. Then the basic requirements is that you need to have a police clearance. So it is advisable that when you then decide to travel, you must have police clearance. If so, you are traveling to look for a job. Remember, private schools, you have to travel and physically drop the CV. But government school, you apply online. So the basic requirement, therefore, is that you need to have a police clearance. So if you decide to travel to UAE to physically look for a job in a private school, you need to have a police clearance. So be advisable that you get a South African police clearance if you are based in South Africa, and also the Zimbabwe police clearance. Or if you are not from Zimbabwe, you are from any other country, get a police clearance from your country if you want to travel there. They also require that you do an HIV test. If you are HIV positive, they will not accept you. They employ those that are HIV negative. So they do the HIV test themselves in their government labs. So you don't have to carry a proof that you have done HIV. They will retest you. there. So that's what is required. So we thought we needed to share this with you. If you are in the teaching profession, you are from Zimbabwe, you are from Zambia, from Malawi, you want to relocate, I'm not sure you are from Nigeria, you want to go and teach there. These are the basic requirements that we got when we did this research. You are free to write in the comment section to ask more questions so that we can do further research on this. We did not, of course, do the salaries to say what are the salaries. We didn't do that. If need be, we will look into that in our next video. But we thought we needed to give you this information, and we also will look into the issue of once we've got a job to stay there, which we have said the requirements, the police clearance, HIV, must be HIV negative, which they will test. Once you pass that and you have been offered a job, then you then work there. So yeah, that's it. So please write in the comment section if there are issues that you want to clarify. If of course you are one of those that are already there in the UAE, please share with us your experiences. The only thing that we know is that it is too hot. Like I said, temperatures run up to about 47 to 50 degrees Celsius. It is too hot. But please share your experiences, the food there that people eat. A comrade of mine who was in Dubai was telling me that at times they will go travel to go and do groceries outside Dubai. Others, they do groceries here in South Africa or in Harare. People will send their groceries to them because they say they have challenges with the food there. But please share with us your experiences. Please share this video to your colleagues, and please do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, thank you so much. Goodbye.